In this video, we're going to be taking a look at using the ARA version of Revoice Pro Link from within Pro Tools. Let's dive in. So I've got some vocal tracks in Pro Tools. Let's have a quick listen.
I'd fight all your fire, carry your pain until it's lighter. If I could, I would cry all your teardrops, wash them away, lift you up higher. If I could, I would take your place.
Okay, so overall, not a bad performance, but definitely I want to do a tuning pass of the female lead vocal. And then I want all three of these tracks to be following the timing of the female lead vocal reference. And then I also need to do some tuning on these other ones. So let's start off and get all these tracks sent over to Revoice Pro. I'm going to select all of these clips and we're going to hold down the Shift and Option modifier, or that's Alt on a PC, right click any one of these clips, and we're going to choose the option Revoice Pro Link and Edit. Now this is going to tell us that Revoice Pro is not running, so let's go ahead and start Revoice Pro. And now you can see that a Revoice Pro document has been created in the background. Now all we need to do is click the Capture button in Pro Tools, and if we head back into Revoice Pro, you'll see that all four of these vocal tracks have been brought in. Let's maximize the screen real estate here, and let's get to work. So first things first, if we listen from anywhere within the timeline, we're going to have the exact same tracks that we had in Pro Tools.
I'd fight all your fire, carry your pain until it's lighter.
Now the very first thing that we need to do is I want to take care of the tuning on the female lead vocal. So let's solo this track, and I'm going to choose the option to expand this, and we're going to right click and we're going to choose Adjust Pitch, Timing, and Level. This will allow us to make some basic tuning adjustments on this lead vocal. Now there are a number of different ways that we can approach tuning when working from within Revoice. If you'd prefer to do things manually, we have the option to use all of the manual tools. In addition to that, if you would rather work with some of the automated tools that we have, we can do this as well. I'm going to opt for a slightly different option in that I'm going to use two different methods. So the first thing I'm going to do is choose Option W. And as you can see, this automatically applies a 100% tuning. And this is, of course, based on the recorded performance. That being said, you have to be careful with this because sometimes if you take a look at these different pitch blocks, so for example, this one right over here, when you have a pitch trace that is linked and it's connected and you see it either going up or down, it's a really good idea to separate those ahead of time before you run any automatic tuning adjustments. So what I'm going to do is temporarily just choose the cutter tool, and let's go over to every different section where we see a white pitch trace line. So for example, right over here, anytime that we see a white pitch trace that is connected to something and we see it swoop, another one would be a good example over here, we're just going to make sure that we separate those ahead of time. Now, once we have that done, I'm going to do the exact same thing that we started off with. I'm going to choose Option W, and now this has done a 100% tuning pass. Let's have a quick listen.
I'd fight all your fire, carry your pain until it's lighter. If I could, I would cry all your teardrops.
Okay, in certain areas, this is where I'm going to apply some manual pitch correction adjustments. One thing that I really like using is the shaper tool. This is a completely unique way that we can add different shape points to our actual pitch trace. And then we have the ability to basically just contour this and kind of like bring this exactly where we need it to be. So for example, I'll bring this one down a little bit. We can lasso select across multiple ones. And then of course we can switch back to our main tools. So for example, over here, and I could double click and snap this back to pitch.
If I could, I would cry all your teardrops, wash them away.
This one over here, if I wanted to bring this down a little bit, I could do the exact same thing. We could go to the shaper tool, and I just want to be adding shape points in these different areas, and then I can hold the Alt or Option modifier, and I can just adjust these points just to kind of smoothen that out a little bit.
Lift you up higher.
Maybe the same thing over here. This goes a little bit too sharp. We'll add some shape points right over here. And I'm just going to add one over here so this gets locked down. And we'll do the same thing. I'm just going to bring just this intro section over. And then maybe I can lasso select across all these and bring these up just a little bit. And we'll hear that.
Lift you up higher. If I could, I would take your place.
And then maybe one last area is right over here. I'm going to add a shape point over here. As you can see, it automatically added one to the left and to the right. I'm going to hold the Alt or Option modifier key, and let's just bring this one up over here.
If I could, I would take your place.
And let's say that for argument's sake that I'm happy with that. Okay, so now we have our tuning pass done. I'm going to switch back to the main selector tool. Let's come out of our full screen mode for a second, and let's talk about what our goals are here. Well, we know we have a female lead vocal and a male lead vocal. They're unison tracks.
I'd fight all your fire, carry your pain until it's lighter. If I could, I would cry all your tears.
Okay, so we have some timing issues, and we also have some tuning issues with this male lead vocal. But let's now take a listen to the background tracks that we have over here.
I'd fight all your fire, carry your pain until it's lighter. If I could, I would cry all your.
So here's the issue with the background tracks. These are obviously harmony tracks, but we still want the timing adjustments from the lead vocal. We still want those to be applied to these tracks. So I'm going to use the new Smart Pitch feature. And what we're going to do is we're going to use one preset and one process group that will tackle all of these problems in one stop. So I'm going to make sure that I have this main track selected over here. We will click the B key, and we're going to use the selected process to match timing, pitch, or level. Now it's going to be on the selected audio, and I'm going to use a very specific preset. So in this case, I'm going to choose the preset that is tight timing plus pitch. We are going to match unison and tune harmonies. Now the next thing I want to do is I don't want to have to control multiple different parameters for all these different tracks. So I'm going to create a new process group. The only other thing we need to do is make sure that our guide tracks and our dub tracks are in the proper spot. So we have female lead vox, that's already in the guide track, so that is correct. Now these two, I want to add these to the dub tracks. So our guide track is going to be the female lead vocal, and then our lead vocal male, female BV harm, and male BV harm. Those are all going to be dub tracks. With all of these settings, let's go ahead and create this new process. So this has automatically created that process, and we can listen to these results instantly. Let's have a quick reminder of where we started off.
I'd fight all your fire, carry your pain until it's lighter. If I could, I would cry all your teardrops, wash them away.
Now, if I want to addition the whole entire process group without having to worry about soloing anything, it's just a matter of clicking this play option right over here.
I'd fight all your fire, carry your pain until it's lighter. If I could, I would cry all your teardrops.
Okay, so that's done an amazing job. The great thing again about process groups is if I want to adjust the settings for this process group, all of these tracks together, I simply click the P key, and now I can make adjustments here. So for example, we're currently being really aggressive. I'm going to back off just a little bit. Maybe we'll go to 2 milliseconds here. And in terms of the pitch target, maybe we'll drop this down 99 and we'll go up just a little bit. So we're giving a bit of a natural feel back. And as you can see, that was instantly updated, and we can addition those results simply by clicking this play.
I'd fight all your fire, carry your pain until it's lighter.
With respect to what exactly is happening, so we have a couple different options in terms of the Smart Pitch. We have match alt to guide, match unison only, and we have match unison and tune non-unison. The reason that I'm going with this preset is because in this case, we had a male lead vocal double, which is a unison. That is being aligned based off the nearest octave. And then the harmony tracks, we want the timing from the lead vocal to be applied to the harmonies. They were close, but they were a little bit out. So we're going to tune the harmonies, which is a non-unison, and that of course is based on the sung performance. Okay, so one amazing thing about using an ARA based DAW with Revoice Pro Link is if I toggle back into Pro Tools, if I was to press play from the actual Pro Tools timeline now, these clips are actually playing back the cached output in Revoice Pro. So we are going to hear all the alignment and all the tuning that's being applied in Revoice. We will hear that in our DAW's timeline.
I'd fight all your fire, carry your pain until it's lighter. If I could, I would cry all your teardrops.
And the other great thing is if you happen to have any effects such as compression, EQ, delay, reverb, you are going to hear everything in context. So I'd say at this point, we're pretty close to done. I'm going to hop back into Revoice for a moment. I just want to talk about a couple other things. One huge benefit of working with Revoice Pro is when you use a process group, and when we're using this very specific preset, if you wanted to make any changes to the timing. So if I go to edit the time and pitch of this track over here, let's go back temporarily. I'm going to hold down the Alter Option modifier, and let's solo just this track. Let's say that I wanted to make some adjustments to the actual pocket of this track. So maybe if I wanted to make an adjustment to this phrase over here.
Fight all your fire, carry your pain.
Let's say that I wanted to extend the timing of this particular phrase. Notice that if I pop back in, all three of these tracks are readjusting. So now listen, if I solo the process group.
I'd fight all your fire, carry your pain.
And if I undo that change.
I'd fight all your fire, carry your pain.
So that can be very useful because if you decide that you want to change the pocket of your lead vocal track, that will get applied to all of your dubs right across the board. Now, I think we're in a really good place, and I'd be pretty happy to render and commit these back in my DAW's timeline. But one last thing that I do want to take a look at is actually generating a vocal double. So we have the male double, the unison track over here, but I'd also like to have a female stereo vocal double that's layered in underneath that I can kind of blend into taste within the mix. With that in mind, I'm going to make sure this lead vocal is selected. We will click the B key. But this time, instead of match, timing, pitch, or level, I'm going to choose a doubler process. We're going to go with selected audio. In terms of the presets, I always like to work with the stereo vocal mild. I use that as my starting point, and then I will tweak it to taste after that. And then we just need to make sure that our input is set to the right track, which it already is. And let's go ahead and create this new process. I'm going to hold the Alter Option modifier key, and let's solo this out, and let's have a quick listen.
I'd fight all your fire, carry your
Let's play it against the lead.
until it's lighter. If I could, I would cry all your teardrops.
Now, if I want to make any changes to this, just a matter of clicking the P key. And because this is a stereo double, we have two different channels. Channel 1 is the left and channel 2 is the right. Any changes that I want to make to this preset, so for example, maybe my formant shift, maybe I want to bring that down a little bit further, somewhere around -4. And my average delay, let's drop this by somewhere around 5 or 6. And we'll go to the channel 2, which is the right channel settings. We'll bring this one up a little bit. And our average delay, let's drop this to somewhere around 29. So now I've just kind of made this a little bit tighter, and I've played with the formants a little bit.
Fight all your fire, carry your pain until it's lighter. If I could, I would cry all your teardrops, wash them away.
Okay, so now at this point, I'm ready to hear this in context of my DAW's timeline. So once we are happy with all of our results, which we are, the only thing that I want to do over here is I'm going to hold down the Shift and Option modifier, or Shift Alt on a PC, click, hold, and drag. And I'm just going to drag and drop this into the Pro Tools timeline. Also, I've already got a track that I've created for this here. Now I'm going to right click and choose the spot option. And in this case, we can go with the original timestamp, and let's go ahead and click OK. So now we know that this track has been placed in the right area. And we'll just go ahead and delete this track over here. Now, if you want to leave yourself a little bit of breathing room and be able to revisit this session later, we can simply save and close this session. And the next time we open it, Revoice Pro will automatically open with this Pro Tools session. We can continue working. But if you are completely happy with your results, then you have the ability to render those and actually commit to these changes. So that's something I'm going to do really, really quickly. By selecting each one of these clips, choosing Revoice Pro Link, we have the option to render. This will actually render these files. So all of the changes that we made from within Revoice Pro, any timing or tuning changes will actually be baked in. Now the stereo track, we drag that in and that's already been rendered. So now with all of these changes in place, let's take a quick listen to the before, just as a reminder of where we started.
I'd fight all your fire, carry your pain until it's lighter. If I could, I would cry all your teardrops, wash them away, lift you up higher. If I could, I would take your place.
And now let's take a listen to the results in context of the final mix.
I'd fight all your fire, carry your pain until it's lighter. If I could, I would cry all your teardrops, wash them away, lift you up higher. If I could, I would take your place.
So that's using Revoice Pro ARA Link in Pro Tools. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.